Hello everybody, a quick video today about Bitcoin Treasury companies dropping. They're dropping. Am I worried? BTC, by the way, that stands for Bitcoin, but that stands also for Bitcoin Treasury companies. So next time I use BTC in a thumbnail, just know what I mean. I mean BTC's Bitcoin Treasury companies, they're dropping. Am I worried? Let's talk about it. So Bitcoin coughed today. Somebody tried to sell something like 40,000 Bitcoin and it barely dropped, but it dropped to like 116, a level not seen in 2 days or something like that. So anyways, nothing scary whatsoever. That's still a volatile asset. Bitcoin is still a perfectly volatile asset. And MicroStrategy, now called Strategy, is down -2%, MetaPlanet is down 10%, Smarter Web Company is down 17%. And what I'm going to say to that is that there's nothing new under the sun. The faster growing company, the most volatile company, is going to drop much more than Bitcoin. And then you have another volatile company, but less volatile, right? MetaPlanet, that's going to drop a little more. And then you have a Strategy, of course, that drops the least because Strategy is the blue chip of the BTCs, the Bitcoin Treasury companies out there. Strategy is the blue chip. As you may know, it's the core of my portfolio. It's my number one position. I look at MetaPlanet or Smarter Web, two other stocks that I own, as highly volatile stocks that really I'm not worried at all if that makes any sense, right? It's like it's a long-term thing, but it's going to be much more volatile, and that volatility allows them to accumulate Bitcoin much faster than Strategy can. So briefly, a few things I want to say. The first stock is Strategy. So strategytracker.com, great website, bookmark it. I can't recommend it enough. It's the only website I know that tracks price to NAV or the NAV premium. They use market cap in there, which I prefer. Frankly, I prefer using market cap over enterprise value because a lot of the debt of these Bitcoin Treasury companies is going to convert to shares anyways. It's just going to convert down the road. So I prefer market cap as a metric, although the more popular metric is enterprise value over the Bitcoin on the balance sheet, right? And you do the ratio. So Strategy right now, frankly, it's been flat. It's trading at about 2x price to NAV, or if you take enterprise value, it's trading at about a 1.7x enterprise value. So it's recovered a little bit. It's not nearly as high as it was, earlier, especially, even in early May, as it was at the beginning of the year, as it was in November, of course, it was even higher. We are still at fairly low levels of price to NAV for Strategy. So we have not experienced multiple expansion. The returns that we see on the stock, which have been pretty good, we are celebrating $442. Those returns have been due to the treasury operations. They haven't been due to multiple expansion. And those treasury operations have been amazing for Strategy. He just crossed the 600,000 mark, right? 601,550. That's very impressive. On his way to 1 million, can you believe if a year and a half, 2 years from now, Strategy actually crosses 1 million Bitcoin? This is going to be shaping up to be one of the most valuable companies out there, perhaps a top 10 company, depending on how Bitcoin does. And of course, the treasury operations, like to show you how good he's doing week after week. The gain to shareholders of last week's treasury operations was $291 million. Do times 52. Do that times 52. And try to calculate the PE ratio for this company. This stock is only trading at 120 billion. When you try to be diligent and actually calculate the PE ratio on that stock, you often end up between a 2 and 3x PE ratio. The market still doesn't know how to value a stock like Strategy. That's why I own it. That's why I love it. Let's talk about MetaPlanet. So MetaPlanet, as you know, position I was happy to get in. I got in the $4 range. And of course, that's due to the annoyance of buying OTC stocks. It is so annoying. I am annoyed by MetaPlanet and Smarter Web Company being OTC. I want to see, an American depository receipt, right? Why can't I buy it on the NASDAQ or something? Why can't I buy it on a regular exchange? That's the annoyance. I'm sure they're working on it. I hope they're working on it. But anyways, MetaPlanet is the second fastest horse. It's now number 5 in the leaderboard of the most Bitcoin on a company. Riot is next. They're going to outpace Riot at some point, I believe. And Riot blockchain, I like very much. The Bitcoin miner I enjoy. But anyways, let's talk about their own multiple compression. Now, unlike MSTR, who's had very, very flat MNAV, right, roughly flat, you can see that MetaPlanet, in my view, is looking like a steal. It's looking cheaper. Like the price to NAV has dropped. It was a 9, right? It went up to a 9, and now it's a 4, and that's if you take market cap. If you take enterprise value, you're at a 3.3 price to NAV. So 30% Bitcoin. So about a third of the market cap of MetaPlanet is Bitcoin. So this is cheap. This is not the cheapest we've ever seen it. We fell down just a tad more, maybe 10 to 15% more. But this is definitely as cheap as we've seen it in a while. And if you look at the stock, of course, it looks like MetaPlanet is not doing well. Right, minus 10%. You may think that hurts, but this is a stock that's going to oscillate plus 10%, minus 10%, plus 10%, minus 10%. If you've been in this stock for a while, you know it's been doing plus 25% days and then minus 20% days. It's just the nature of the asset, but at the end of the day, they're able to monetize that MNAV premium, and they're able to they tap the ATM, they draw down the MNAV, they buy the Bitcoin, and the announcement shoots the ATM back up. Optimism shoots back up. When optimism is back in the market, you tap the ATM again. I know for MetaPlanet it's a moving strike warrant, but it's the same principle. If you look at the chart, if you look at the performance of the stock, you can see moving from like 1080 to 940 or something is nothing scary for a volatile stock like this. I sleep so well at night. This is a stock whose accumulation of Bitcoin has been exponential. You can see that beautiful exponentials. This is a beautiful. I mean, this could be in a log chart, right? This is a beautiful expansion of the Bitcoin. And if you look at that, of course, they acquired Bitcoin 2 days ago. They're not going to acquire today because the stock was down. But things usually, if you're down big one day, you're going to be up another day, and when they're up, they will raise Bitcoin, and they've been able to accumulate at a very, very fast pace, but not as fast as the last Bitcoin treasury company that I added to my portfolio, which is the Smarter Web company. I called it the faster horse in my last video, and everybody corrected me. It's the fastest horse. Well, yeah, for now it seems to be the fastest horse, but you are seeing some sort of an asymptotic curve is going to develop. Like at the end of the day, we're going to see that curve flatten a little bit, but we're still in the steep part of the curve right here. And as far as the Smarter Web company, of course, it's down 17% today. So a little hiccup on the price of Bitcoin leads to the most drawdown in the fastest horse, because the fastest horse is very sensitive to the price of Bitcoin. As far as MNAV calculations, and by the way, the source on here is Bitcoin B21. Kudos to him for creating this website. I'm giving you the source, but that's a 6x. We're just under a 6x on MNAV calculations, and that's probably as cheap as it's been. That's very close to as cheap as it's been. At least that's one of the cheaper valuations you can see. Between mid-May and early July, late June, early July, it was more expensive than that. So on a price to NAV, we are getting in cheaper and cheaper territory for the Smarter Web company. But look how the growth of the Bitcoin on balance sheet has been going on. It actually accelerated just a tad in the last buy. I'm not seeing any slowdown in the Bitcoin acquisition machine. This is why I like the stock very much. I am confident in this stock, and if you look at the stock price, if you zoom out just a little bit, right, zoom out 3 weeks, you can see it's really not that scary of a drawdown in the grand scheme of things. Minus 17%. There will be a day you can book 30% in a day, and then minus and plus, and it's just the nature of volatility. The market does not understand Bitcoin treasuries companies just yet, but the market eventually will. And this chart really shows you, it kind of starts to all make sense. You have on top micro strategy, now called strategy, which is the stable. It's the beacon of stability. It's a straight line acquiring the Bitcoin, and thus it oscillates a few percent each day. Then you have MetaPlanet, acquires faster than MicroStrategy, that's now called strategy, but also oscillates plus or minus 10%. And now we have this one, which is the most volatile, and you're gonna have a plus 17, plus 20, minus 20, minus 20, right? It's just the volatility. It's the nature of the game. This is business as usual for these companies. So anyways, this was a shorter video than usual. You know, I got some good news with my citizenship test, so I'm still celebrating that today. So that's why it's a shorter video, but there will be a longer video tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. This was not investment advice, not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I hope you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.